And I can tell all of you that there's not a single member on that council that did not believe that everything we did had to be approved by the County Board of Commissioners. I know that for a fact. There's no way we would have done anything without their approval. What we did at motions and what we did was we thought we'd have money here and we would approve allocation of those funds to special events, which seems to be a big issue. But we thought we were figuring out how to use that money to the best advantage and thought everything was going on to the board being the BOCC. We did not get a request from Mark Bellinger to buy a house. We did not get a request from Mark Bellinger to buy a boat. We did not get a request from Mark Bellinger for 2 motorcycles, for a Porsche. However that was done, it was done through the marketing aspect of how he billed. I have no idea.
Just as a matter of, you just thought it was a cursory review, that this was then going to go up to the commission, or in other words, that when you were sitting there making those real decisions, $50,000 spending authority or what have you, how did that feel when you were doing that?
Everything we did, I believed, went before the county commissioners. I regret the fact that I didn't go to every county commissioner meeting and basically line item, did we discuss this, did it get voted on? But yes, I believed it was going before the board.
When you're voting on this, again, you're just a board of advisors. The final approval, I guess, is above you, or did you have the final approval?
Ooh, never felt like we had final approval at anything, on anything. I felt like it was either the director could approve things,
right,
and was just we were almost a little bit of a vetting. He could ask, and we were to advise. But I felt that he had approval, and certainly the county commissioners did.
right.
Not us. No,
Yeah.
I didn't think we had the power to do any real thing.
I mean, that, Mr. Chair, I'm sure every one of us has sat on some of the advisory boards, and the reality is, on these boards, we have not a tremendous amount of influence, ultimately, and it's one of those things where maybe you have responsibility without influence, which is really a bad place to be in this world when you have that. And I just, I get what she's saying here. I mean, I think a lot of this goes to the people who have the actual authority, which is the director, and obviously not here, and the commission.
We were given budgets quite often. We were given expenditures quite often to look at. When you sit on an advisory board and a gentleman walks up and gives you a spreadsheet like that, passes them out, hands it out to the crowd, and says, here's our budget, here's our list of expenditures over the last month. We didn't go to the county clerk's office and say, we need some bank statements. We want to make sure this is exactly what happened. It's not part of authority. It's not something that's within our job description. We look at that budget and we go, okay, here we are this month. Let's talk about some marketing plans. Let's talk about some larger projects. Let's talk about the BP funds. Let's talk about the oil. And quite often these conversations were extremely detailed. Now, a couple of years later, it comes to light that these pieces of paper we were receiving weren't in its entirety. We didn't receive all of his line item budget. So when you ask, how did we spend all this time talking about $17,000 and $3,000 and $5,000? Well, that was on our piece of paper. That was in our budget. That's what was on our agenda. There wasn't a $700,000 line item for a boat or for a house or for a Porsche. And I bet that's why he got away with it for so long. We didn't get that information. And it wasn't our authority to ask for that information. When he drives up in a car, he never drove up in a Porsche to our meetings, by the way. He drove a Subaru. Okay? So we weren't seeing these types of things. Now, 2 years later, yeah, well, he was given some authority that didn't require any oversight. He didn't answer, Mr. Bellinger, when I say he didn't answer to anyone.